Yo, 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 what's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Nate the Great coming at you with another live. You already know if you're new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. So all the returning friends and family, you already know it's peace and blessings. I'm gonna give y'all some time to tune in case these notifications ain't go out. Just Jay, baby. Jay, what's going on? I already see him coffee cups in the damn chat. See you, man. See. Give me a second to get myself comfortable, y'all. First things first, TGIF. Hopefully everybody's having a blessed and productive Friday. Hopefully everybody keeping themselves safe, keeping themselves warm. Hopefully everybody prepared for whatever they might be trying to get into for the weekend. For those in the city, if you do plan on being out there outside of work or whatever the case is, make sure you bundled up. Definitely make sure you got what you need just in case. Because yeah, it's gonna be kind of iffy on what's being seen or team weather this weekend. So try to keep yourself bundled up. Whatever activities you thought you might have had outdoors, try to bring it indoors. You, baby. I hear you, James. Shoot, it's supposed to be dropping down tonight. It's already feeling like it's in the teens now over here. I think it's like 22 right now, if I'm not mistaken. But it's supposed to drop even lower. So again, for those in the city, make sure y'all keeping yourselves safe and keep yourselves warm as possible. If you ain't got nowhere to go, for those who need to hear, if you ain't got nowhere to go, find somewhere to go. Not be out here like this, getting caught out here. This type of weather ain't the thing to play with for real. Appreciate everybody that tuned in for the conversation. Monday definitely was a great one. You know, we definitely had a nice little vibe too, like we always do. So shoot. For those that missed the conversation, you could definitely catch the replay. I'm gonna do this the way I'm known to do it, but I'm gonna be real about it. So it's Dee Dee's fault. I ain't messing with you, James. I ain't messing with y'all, man. Too early for this. Too early. No, I'm lying. It ain't never too early. Nah, but I want to iterate on something real quick, and something that I spoke about, and something that continuously needs to be spoken about. And at some points, you know, it needs to be a thing that becomes something for the generations. Now, I'm gonna break down two different scenarios. I'm gonna see how long I'll be on here tonight. I gotta kind of be on point, even though it's cold. But yeah, I'm gonna speak about this real quick. Some that need to hear. And some of y'all out there who will sit here and complain about the current state of things, right? And not so much as, but you'll complain. It it's beyond complaining. You know, it's something that you hear almost every damn day. But in the same token, those same things at some point should invoke a change, right? We hear a lot of people talk about how the youth ain't being respectful no more. The youth are crashing out at a higher rate. The youth is turning to the streets. The youth don't care no more. But did it ever occur that the reason why some of the things are happening the way it's happening is because the adults, not just the parents, adults around, period. That's a good thing, right? To ask that question. It's easy to shift blame on them for a lot of things that is happening, right? But they had to get the blueprint from somewhere. Get my drift? There are some things that honestly just need to change all around the board, you know, because in that instance, it could spark the change that's needed. You have some who didn't get a chance to really do much because of untimely passings, or they just never was able to excel the way they were supposed to. So, and that notion right there, it's hard to say you don't want to see these people go down the same path when some of you are leading them down that same path. Some of the situations that's happening, and again, that's because this is exactly what you're doing. You're trying to recruit the ones who are, in my opinion, still gullible to the world. And that notion is bad because, again, what kind of love are you really showing? And what love are you giving to them that is going to make them excel in life? Serious, baby. Like, what blueprint are you going to show? What blueprint are you going to be able to give out that's going to be beneficial and not detrimental? It's a good question to ask. Got to remember this. The youth are impressionable, and the youth are also looking up to you adults. Court, baby. Going on, sis. Hope all well with you. But you got to think about it. If you're supposed to be setting the example, it's supposed to be all around the board. There are some things that the youth should never be shown or taught because be backfiring to what you're trying to do. It could be the back door, basically, to your production or to that child's production and growth, right? Like there's some of y'all that think that they don't pay attention. If they wake up every day, go to school, and see the same people doing the same activities, at some point, what you think gonna happen? You're gonna be nosy. You're gonna be curious. Or if they already haven't found out, again, you could be enticing the wrong situation right there. A lot of them are resorting to certain things because, again, there's no love, no family structure. Small handful of them are following those same situations and they coming from good places. But again, following behind the crowd. There are certain things that are supposed to be instilled into the children. So again, they can have better production and better growth. But again, selfish in the ways, you know. Like again, prime example. If they get up every day and they seeing as the same people sitting on the same corners or sitting in the same areas day in and day out, or they see you probably getting some decent money or doing whatever it is you do, what you think they're gonna go for? The quick come up. If you teach them something that's actually valuable and they could end up making it in higher places in life, why not give it to them? Like again, showing them how to build, showing them architecture basically. Again, it's supposed to be setting up a blueprint. But what blueprints are you really giving when you're just showing them the easy way to get things? Can't always take the easy way or the easy route and think that at some point you're not going to be encouraging or influencing the ones up under you. This is something, again, that needs to be a worldwide message. There's some of you who can't say that you're for the youth and that you care about the youth when you are pushing those same youth away, especially those who are crying out for help. This message is for those who need to hear it. So again, if it don't apply, let it fly. Even if it's the simplest thing. A person might have a problem reading, or might have a problem with math, or probably just doesn't have an understanding on a certain thing that they are learning. If you are able to give them that, why not give it to them? Again, it does take a community to show the youth how to move. It's not just the parents. Think about it, think about it for real. Why you think people implement godparents, and why you think there's uncles and aunts and you know grandparents, all of that? Think about it. It's about learning all around the board. Most of the learning is going to come from home because, again, if you're in a situation where you can barely really be out and about to yourself, where do you think you're going to get most of your information? Where do you think you're going to get most of your learning from? From the home. But when you're out in the world, which again could be a very cold place, you gotta think about it. It's not easy because in the blink of an eye, anything can happen. Any influence of negativity could 9 out of 10 persuade your children or your children's friends to move down that path. It is important to remember certain things should not be exposed and should not be revealed to those ones because, again, it's only going to show them that this is the way you got to live. This is the way you got to be. Northwoods, what's going on? What's going on? Appreciate you. You already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. Like I said, can't expect them to do better when there's a lot of you who are not doing better. A lot of you are showing the youth things that are being destructive all around the board. And it has its effects. It is causing a lot of distress and chaos to some degree. See, I'm gonna be honest. Some of them who are being pushed into that type of life still have opportunities if the right people will come along and be a positive role model more than anything. Now, again, thinking about those who are not coming from a great family structure or a family structure at all, they can still redeem themselves. They can still end up being something great. But again, it does take the right people. And we've seen along the course of history that some people have come along and have pushed the children or pushed the youth, even the young teens out there, pushed them to greater heights. just by inspiration and motivation alone. Not just speaking, but actually doing the work. Actions speaking louder than the words. And those people turned out to be great successes in life. No matter what profession, they was able to get out of what was considered turmoil. So I think in some instances, you know, like I said, the programs that were actually beneficial for some of those people who are going through that, you know, need to be restructured, be revised, and then be reopened. Because remember, not everybody is coming from the same background, period. You know, it's good to try to give them that because you never know. Your words or even just your actions, you showing them that somebody actually does care and wants to see the best for you. Sometimes that might just be enough for them to make the transition. So this way you won't keep getting some of the stories that you're getting now. Kids losing their lives before they even turn 18. Kids being locked up for grown man charges, possibly spending the rest of their life or at least a portion of their life behind the wall. Some of them not getting into situations where they could be paraplegics. These are things you need to think about. Like I'm gonna give a good example. When I was coming up, some of the older folks and the OGs in my area, a lot of them you didn't know what the hell they was doing because even when they was out and about amongst the flock, they didn't present nothing because they didn't want to give off that aura anyway. They really was with the you don't need to be in my business and I don't need to show you what I'm doing. As long as you know I'm taking care of what I gotta take care of, you don't need to be in my business, you know? And I'm not gonna be an influence in you doing whatever it is you think you're gonna try to do at some point. They live by that code. Nowadays you got people who again, you wanna sit back, you wanna show them certain things that's not being beneficial. It's not helping them, not giving them no form of real mental or spiritual growth. You're giving them something that's at some point going to start being a poison and start unaliving themselves, basically, from the inside out. I'm going to try to be nice with some of these words. I know. I know. You know, again, you have to offer something a lending ear, a crying shoulder, or just some great advice. But again, you got to do the work. You got to think about it. For those that are coming from these situations, if it's not single parent households or any household at all, what you think they're doing? Some of them are actually living house to house. So even in that notion right there, if you know there's a situation where this child might actually need a stable environment and maybe they could thrive from that, why not try to do the best thing? Like I said, in some instances, adopt. Why allow them to fall victim, especially if you see the potential, you know? Now, I know sometimes it could be a little risky because you never know what could possibly take place. But if you could offer them the environment to thrive and really see what it feels like to have that, you never know. It'll turn out to be great people. Appreciate you for dropping those links, serious baby. Working hard in this space heater, baby. But yeah, you gotta think about that. Like I said, a lot of times they didn't present certain things in front of us because those same things wasn't presented to them. Y'all get where I'm going with it. It doesn't matter about the different generations. There are some things that again should never disappear or fade away. Not showing them certain things, like prime example, some of them that are watching y'all play dice and do certain things on the block all day. They watching. You're influencing them whether you want to believe it or not. See, prime example, even when the adults would hang indoors or have certain events amongst the adults, even if all the kids were there, guess what? You didn't see a peep out of them unless it was going to the bathroom or if they really did need something or if it was an emergency. Other than that, there was too many things to do. They was entertained. And again, they never knew what was going on. But when they do happen to see some situations unfold, again, it's about having that emotional, intelligence, but awareness too. Some things you don't necessarily have to, again, bring present to their eyes or to their ears. Shoot, a lot of times we didn't know the adults would even be fighting sometimes. We be thinking they just having a good time, even when it was a fight. You want to know why? Because they knew how to control themselves. They never let the emotion get to the point where it starts becoming physical actions. Prime example, if you are showing some form of violence around them, what you think they gonna emulate? What you think they gonna really start looking at? Be real. If they see that almost every day there's some form of fight, some form of shootout, something that's just tied into all the wrong negatives, what you think at some point they gonna do outside of be curious and ask questions? That's what I'm saying. The things that we really held dear to us is fading out. There were some things again the children were never ever exposed to, and even when they was exposed to it, guess what? You had to explain to them what you had to explain to them. And I think that's important again. When they do happen to come across these type of scenarios, hey, try to give them the backstory, or at least try to explain to them the truth. See, a lot of them are doing certain things and they're lashing out because you gotta think about it. These ones are hurt, not getting the love and support they should be getting from even immediate family. Some of them are being tag-alongs, followers, and gophers. Sorry, but at some point, that element should change because regardless to what, yeah, the youth are supposed to be the future generations. They are supposed to keep some of the things that we hold dear growing strong into the future. Some cases, it's not happening because, again, if we think about it, Some of them are so tied into whatever's going on in these streets, like they don't care. Like I said, social media in the streets are raising a lot of these kids. Mind girl, baby. See, again, we'll complain and cry about certain things, but we don't take the initiative to at least try, or at least try to show them that there is something better outside of. But again, there's no love being shown, no compassion, no empathy, no nothing. You can't expect them to soften up to some degree when you're giving them reasons to just stay in that situation. Like prime example, I was watching some old nostalgia TV. And even though we know some of these shows was just what it is, entertainment, we also did get some life lessons that we see to this day. Like prime example, if you're gonna adopt a child or if you're gonna be responsible for a child, whether they preteen or teenagers, you are supposed to be not just a guardian, but you are supposed to give them that family love and aspect so they can grow. So they can realize that there are good people out there who are willing to take that chance on and willing to at least help them grow in ways that nobody else is helping. But if you got a situation, for example, where you come into a family and then that family is in and out with you, that's a problem. Like prime example, you can't bring somebody in, but then you always at every corner you threaten them to kick them out. If they're not doing nothing that would require you to kick them out, why would you? Or why would you keep threatening them? You know, he's there. What's going on, my guy? You know, that's the thing people don't think about. Like some of y'all think about it. Y'all remember that show, The Parenthood, Robert Townsend, you know? When they took that boy in, why it seemed like almost every time you look, he was 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Even when certain things wasn't his fault. And that's another thing. You know, y'all gotta think about it. You're taking you're not taking so much as a risk, but you're taking on a whole different person, a whole new personality that's not your immediate family. Or you're bringing in somebody who's never had that love and that compassion that a family would be given. They're not coming from that structure. So it might take them some time to adjust. But once you done laid down the foundation, and once they understand whatever, again, gotta remember, they still young. They gonna make those mistakes. You know, it's a way of life. There's certain mistakes that you make that guess what? You know, you might have to actually do the best thing. If you're gonna take somebody in like family, then that means you gotta treat them like family all the way through. You gotta treat them like you would treat your own kids. So that means even if you have to punish them, hey, do what's necessary. Again, they don't know what that is, but in the same token, they will know what it is. They'll know that they actually have somebody that cares and is willing to even go that length just to show them that look, you know, this is what it is. If you want this, you gotta not just earn it, but you gotta be able to talk with us. You gotta be able to feel comfortable with us. And y'all gotta make sure that y'all comfortable with them. It goes both ways. So again, we gotta think about that. You know, these things are important. If you are going to try to give them a shot, no matter how you do it, you got to be consistent with it. Like we have sports coaches who push they push their youth to the highest expectations. Why? Because again, they see belief, they see growth, they see potential. And I think again that's important. And that's what I'm saying. It kind of cancels each other out when same ones that are moping and complaining about them ain't trying to do nothing to help. Want to know why some of them ain't listening to reason, or they not listening to any form of adult or any form of authority? Some of y'all are not doing that same exact thing. You refuse to listen to some form of whatever. You never know what these youth are going through as well too. Because the same pressures they face now, we faced them at one point. Even if we did come from a good background, we faced certain pressures. There's a lot of us who could have been in the streets. There's a lot of us who could have been in gangs. There's a lot of us who could have just been career criminals. There's a lot of us who could have been, and the list goes on. You know where I'm going with this. There are pressures in the world, you know. But the one thing to remember is you gotta relieve that pressure. The pressure is on for them because again, a lot of them want to prove themselves. But the way they want to prove themselves, they're going about it the wrong way. But when you have adults who are still pushing in that same light like them right now, how do you expect certain things to change? Straight up. So I said it's important, to try to give them some form of structure. It don't have to be my kid for me to inspire you to be something great or you to be inspired to just live your fullest life. See, I think this is where people get it messed up too. Because you have people out there who don't have children, right? But they do the best for the children because they want to see those ones become something great. They giving them what they supposed to be having. It takes special kind of people to deal with those scenarios as well too. Some of these people do have kids. So you think about it. If they got to deal with theirs, what makes you think they ain't going to deal with yours in some way or fashion? You know, something to think about. Again, they just need to be inspired. But when you have the streets and you also have things on social media that are giving them the blueprint, how you think you're seeing some of the things you're seeing now? Things that used to be enforced ain't being enforced. Every time when it's time to hold kids accountable or hold the youth accountable for things, everybody want to come in and play Captain Saver instead of showing them what accountability and responsibility is. I'm from that era. If we did something, if we got wrapped up, we had to face our consequences. Right now, a lot of them are not facing the consequences. And the consequences that they are facing are very detrimental to their well being and even their future. It's sad to say that in some cases, there are some who are just not going to make the cut. Why? Because a lot of them are too deep in. For those who are 18 and over, right? I would like for y'all to get that message out, especially make it clear to the ones that are up under you. They don't have to follow a certain path just to be great. Frugal, baby. I think about it, Dad. I think about it. You still owe me a PlayStation 5. Stop talking. Serious, lock the door. He can't get up out of here. I'm tired of his ass now. I need my PlayStation 5, son. And I need that Call of Duty. I need that Call of Duty, son. I need that Call of Duty, son. Come over here with that. Oh, but it is, though. It's literal destruction, though. I mean, you gotta think about that. How is it you could complain about these kids not having respect, not having principles and morals, but there's a lot of you who are not going by that standard? Again, when you are having disagreements and arguments with people in front of them, what you think they're going to do? Prime example, if they hear you cursing all the time, at some point they're going to be cursing. I had to tell, I had to tell one of my peoples the other day, complaining about one or two things, and I'm like, but if you think about it, it's technically your fault because you having certain disagreements and arguments, and you cursing up a stone. They hear it. It's not like you being quiet about it, or it's not like you taking it elsewhere. No, you literally around them, just doing it. And again, it sets the tone. You know, can't expect your kid not to curse if you cursing around them 24/7. It's not just what they learn outside. Sometimes it really is what they learn at home. But in some cases, like I said, just got to be mindful and what you doing around them. Like I said, fighting around them, that could traumatize them, especially when they're young. And not just verbally fighting, physically fighting. That could traumatize them. Again, you got to think about it. What you do or what you present around them is what's basically going to be their influence. It could be good or it could be bad. You would hope that it do more good. Like I said, you don't have to be somebody's. You don't have to be somebody's mother or father to influence these youth to do something better with their lives, or at least try to get them on the right path. Again, if you know they coming from those type of scenarios, those are the ones you're supposed to try to give the most encouragement to. Why you think a lot of them are lashing out? Because they're not getting the same type of love and compassion that these other ones are getting. They don't have a true, genuine support system. You're not helping with supporting their ideas or pushing them in the right direction where it could be beneficial. You're not. Chill, little baby. Happy New Year, sis. Happy New Year. Appreciate you. Appreciate y'all for popping in. But it is something that I think about. How is it fair now? Like I said one time before, the sad part is there are gonna be some that no matter what you do, they just gonna have that path towards destruction. And there's only so much you can do when somebody's already having a mindset that way. But for the ones that still can be influenced in the right direction, you gotta be consistent. Sometimes you have to include them in certain things again, so they can feel and belong too. Because all they're looking for is just, again, love, compassion, understanding. Those are key components. We might overlook it, but again, it shouldn't be overlooked. Your influence could definitely spark a revolution with that one. Like those Big Brother programs were definitely helpful in some cases because again, it gave structure. It gave them a feeling of belonging. It gave them a feeling of family. It gave them a family of hope. These dads, you only dizzy because you over here playing that damn PlayStation, man. You ain't at work. Don't, no, 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 brother, man. No. Unless you got the PlayStation hooked up at work, I ain't gonna say nothing. Then. I ain't gonna say nothing. But no, you gotta think about that. There's no way you could tell me you can't say, well, I see potential in these ones. Let me try to do something to where I could gather them up. For those that's coming from the broken background, it is sad because you're not giving these youth an opportunity to really grow and develop the way they should. But we also, again, can't shift the blame. Like, prime example, how can they learn anything if you're not pushing that on them? Like, some of them can't read, right? Some of y'all will even laugh at a person that can't read. Can't sit here and say that you would. Now, we know people with common sense and we know people with respect ain't going to do it. But there's a lot of people, too, who will laugh at a person that can't read or can barely read. But some of these people who could barely read or write ended up being successful. Why? Because at some point you had people who was willing to help, especially they was trying to get helped. That is important. Again, it's about help. Help where it's needed. Denise, baby. Yeah, I don't think it's really funny at all. Like I said, some things that we never poked fun at and we never made light of because again, you never know how that person is going to take it. You laugh at somebody that can't read, that person ends up having that chip on their shoulder. In some instances, that's where they'll give up on themselves. And then they'll start going down that destructive road. Some people fail to realize that words and actions, they can have consequences, positive or negative. But in some instances, it's negative. Like I said, you laugh at somebody who is having some form of learning disability, they'll be quick to give up on themselves. Or in some cases, they might just take their anger out and they're going to take it out in the wrong way. I'm all for, again, just being wise and aware of who you helping and how you helping. Because there are some people that you can help or you can try to help and they're not going to want to receive it. But I've always felt being consistent and being determined is a stepping stone. Some of the programs that were necessary that are either closing down that have already phased out, again, should make a way back in. In some cases, those who actually do have a roof over their head Some of them again are not getting what they should be getting. And a lot of them just want love and attention. Like I said, they also need understanding. You try to do the best that you can, and when it's all said and done, you know, you just gotta wait and see what happens and what transpires. Like I said, your words of encouragement, even if it's just words that you give, even if it's just inspiration you give on the verbal note, they'll help them. They'll always remember that, you know what, this person was right. Or you know what, this person actually made sense. You never know what happened. That person can't read, so don't judge. Uh-huh. The truth. Some people, like I said, they disability, they disability don't always be their fault. Like remember, you got people who have dyslexia. It's not their fault that they have it. But in the same token, if you help them, if you help them to better understand and better get, you, it'll be better for them. But if you're gonna continuously laugh, or if you're gonna poke fun at, or if you just gonna treat them like they less than, what you think gonna happen? You never know what some of these youth out here could be. And in some cases, there is still time to try to help them the best way possible, so they don't lead down the wrong path, so they don't lose a portion of their lives either behind the jail or in an early grade. There's certain things I would speak about, but I don't speak about them only because they too sensitive and too close to home. But my messages are normally going towards that, so we can avoid things like that. No mother or father should ever have to worry about their child not coming home because they was caught in the midst of some form of scuffle, especially if it's gang related. No parent should have to worry about losing a child out there in the streets because of specific things that could have been avoided. Now again, it's about what you show them, about what you show them and how you showing them. If you pushing them down the right path, they can continuously flow down that path. But again, they need support. And that means on all cylinders. That means even if they are into sports or into any form of recreational activities or academic activities, be there. Root them on. Show them what you're supposed to show them. Show them what having family or true family or people who can be family is really made of. See, these are the type of things people don't want to discuss, and even when it is being discussed, a lot of times we can't get to a good place because too many different egos. Like I said, whatever the streets ain't teaching them now, the internet is teaching them. How they supposed to learn about conflict resolution? How they supposed to really learn how to deal with certain scenarios when you got people again ready to come to fisticuffs at every or any given moment? Quick to scream, yell, disrespect, and do all the things that shouldn't be done. Not everything is entertainment. And some of those things that y'all implore, it is becoming a downfall for them as well, whether you want to believe it or not. They're gonna never learn to think rational when y'all keep making irrational moves. Not everything has to end in a fist fight. Not everything has to end in a verbal conflict to where it could be ongoing beef and tension. One second, book smart and street smart are two different things, but it shows that they are trying to learn. In this world today, you have to learn just to survive. That's a fact. You speaking real facts, James. Because there's people who are both book smart and street smart. But you want to know why they both? Because again, they had the right people around them. They had the right influences. I'm a prime example of book smart and street smart. Street smart because I had the right ones who was in the streets that didn't present some of the things that were bad influences. They didn't want to have to deal with my mom's anyway because she was a whole different candy. So, you know, only thing they did was show something great. And if at any time I was damn near ready to crash out, those were the ones that stopped me from crashing out. Even to the point of, nah, we still gonna have to tell your moms about this, but you know, and that's what's important. Or we still gonna have to do something about this. You know, that's important. No doubt. Appreciate you, sis. Have a good time, baby. But you know, this is what I'm saying. We have to gotta start wisening up. Again, be cautious of what we present around. Gotta show them that look, there's different ways to deal with different scenarios. Again, not every confrontation has to lead into fisticuffs. Now, when it's necessary to, and it has to be, then it is what it is. But other than that, you could get around a lot of things without having to get either or. Like I remember at one point there were certain things that would help sacred, even when people were beefing or had tensions. There was certain things that was just off limits, like family. Never included nobody's family and nothing. If you had a back and forth with somebody, that's between you and that person. Never include family or anything along those lines in the battle. That's something that ain't happening. Everything is everything is basically on the table, which is sad. But again, how you gonna show the young ones how to deal with conflict if some of y'all older ones is doing the same exact thing that we see now? I already know he's dad. Shoot, we supposed to be in the teens all weekend, so shit. I already know, bro. For those again that's in the city, again, try to keep yourselves warm and safe this weekend, even if you do have plans. Shoot, I think I got plans, but I'm gonna see how cold it's really gonna be. And all next week, I don't even think we reaching the 30s. So we gonna be waking up to possibly 12, 13 degrees every other morning, at least for the next week or so. For those that's upstate, hopefully y'all got everything y'all need and y'all prepared for this little snow that's coming. In the city, the same thing. Make sure your family's got what's needed because trust me, in the event you might not be able to get out, at least you got what you need. Everybody take precautions while driving this weekend as well too, especially in the spots where it is snow and black ice. Don't be trying to speed and rush trying to get somewhere. Take your time. Your safety is what counts. And back to the subject at hand, again, you just got to know what to present around. And again, we got to show them that there are certain things that should just always be off limits. Again, not all confrontations have to end violently or have to end up rough. Appreciate you, East Dad. You already, bro. And it does take, not gonna lie, it does take a special type of strength to deal with some of the things that you deal with on a day in and day out basis. Like me, probably, man. I deal with certain things day in and day out. I don't never let it override or mess up anything that I have in my mind. I don't let it corrupt me because again, it's just the world around me. There's things you're always gonna see. You know, you gotta have a special type of strength to deal with everything around you. But again, for some of y'all that need to hear this message, in order for you to pass the torch or at least try to bring some light into their direction, you got to be able to put in the footwork. James number 8, what's going on, my guy? Y'all already know if y'all just tuned in, hit the like button. But if y'all new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Y'all can hear the wind in the background. I had to come out and check something. Anytime I hear it screaming, I'll be, gotta be on point because shoot, you never know what's going on. But yeah, again, inspire the youth by showing them that look, you do have people that want to see you do well. You have people that do want to see you do, extraordinary things in life. You can still be a mentor without having to be a mentor. Sign up for it. Again, you just gotta know where you placing that energy at. And if that person is willing to receive that, and if that person is going to receive it, then again, gotta put in the work. You have to show them that no matter what the world is presenting or what the world is throwing at you, you could throw it back. Or you could use that to strengthen your mind, strengthen your spirit, and keep you on a path of just growth and success. Just because you might be down bad don't mean you're gonna be down bad forever. So that's what we gotta start doing. And again, it does start from not just what they learn home. For those who really don't have a home, or for those whose homes are broken, yeah, you gotta teach them while they're in the streets certain things. You don't want to see them go down that same path. You don't want them to see them go down a road that could possibly destroy them. Show them better. There's nothing wrong with taking somebody under your wing and trying to do the best for them. You know, but all in all, though, those talks and those actions are necessary. In order to inspire them to be better, show them better. Show them what potential they have and where they could possibly excel at. Everything to the simplest nooks and crannies are necessary for their growth. Again, not just mentally, but spiritually. So I said what I need to say on that end. And I'm gonna come back and reiterate that part. I'll drop the link in the chat in case anybody want to chime in. I wasn't gonna be too crazy tonight. Just wanted to give an inspirational message to those that need to hear it. You can still be an inspiration to the quote unquote YNs or the dysfunctional youth. It's solely up to you though. If you know there are youth around you who could be better, or you know what their background is like, and you want to see them do better, especially those ones who are hanging around your own kids or your grandkids, show them something. Teach them something that's going to be beneficial. That's going to keep their mind focused. That's going to keep their minds thinking. Also keep their minds sharp. You know, like I said, you want to move the goalposts, move it in the positive direction. Show the youth why it's important to structure themselves and become the greatest person they can be. One thing I am going to ask though is that again, if you are going to be some form of influence to them, make sure you're consistent with that. Don't just talk about it, be about it. The next few days, we are expecting low temperatures near the freezing point. Please pay attention. Exactly, serious. And again, for those who will be facing some cold temperatures, for those who are going to be in the teens or probably near single digits, please make sure you're keeping your house warm. Make sure you're keeping yourselves warm. Keep the necessities that are needed. And if you do lose some form of heat, find the old methods that used to work and try to keep your house or just try to keep yourselves warm wherever you at. I want all my peoples out there, especially those that rock with me, to be safe this weekend. And just be safe throughout this winter. And know in some places the winters really be winter. Right now in New York City, this is feeling like how the old New York City used to feel in the early 90s. Weather has been consistent as far as snow, cold, and whatever. Now we have had some days that been kind of iffy, but we know what it is. You know? The main thing is keeping yourself safe, making sure you got everything adequate that you need, and again, just staying safe. You don't have to be out there. Don't be out there. For those who are considered senior citizens that might be listening, that's the same thing for y'all. You ain't got to be out. Don't be out. You know, that's a whole fact, James. You know, those who got pets. You know, again, like James just said, you know, protect them from the elements as well because they are being treated just like how we are being treated. So the goal is not to just think about yourselves, but think about the people that are around you. So, and that's even the pets. One thing I am going to say too, because I ain't going to be too long on it, because I might actually have a whole discussion about this. I'm gonna speak on both ends, like I always do. I'm gonna speak to the fellas first. Fellas, there's some of you who are being young, wild, and free to a degree, but you got to remember, in some cases, being young, wild, and free, it could cost you in the long run. Some of y'all, it might cost you life, which you don't want it to. Some of you, it's gonna gain you something that you might not be wanting to do or might not be prepared to do. For the rest of you, that form of irresponsibility will definitely put you in the hot seat. And you will be hearing something about it 9 months later. So again, you know, be careful in what you're doing and how you're doing things. Fellas, this is an important message. Again, you have to be careful in what you're doing. And also who you doing. You might not be traumatized by doing whatever, but in the same token, you are setting yourself up for some form of failure. The goal should be trying to find somebody that best suits you, that is your, is your complete fit, and you do the right thing. You know, you build with that person, you grow old with that person, build a family with that person. That should be the goal. Some of y'all me thinking, okay, well, I got my options. I got my options. But at some point, your options can run low. Or in some cases, all your options could be burnt out. And again, that's important though. Fellas, there's certain things you don't necessarily have to do. And I'm gonna break this down. Because there are some things, again, you should not have to worry about because if this person that you're trying to build with, right? Oh no. Let me rephrase that. There's some things that you fellas don't have to do when it comes down to some of these women because again, they're not your wives. You do everything you're supposed to do for your wife. There are some things you shouldn't worry about because technically it's not your responsibility. And if that person decides they want to cut you off or leave, you basically did all of that for nothing. You want to take care of somebody or you want to do certain things with somebody, then make sure that's somebody that you building with for life. You're not obligated to do certain things again because it's not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to keep somebody nails done, their hair done. It's not always your responsibility to feed them, pay their bills, or do whatever. Again, if that's not somebody that you building with for life, if that's not your wife, make yourself, you know, make yourself less scarce. Keep yourself on the up and up, especially if you are trying to build. Some of you will mess up your potential building because you're trying to build somebody else by just showering them with money and gifts. If that person decides they done used you up, or if that person decides they just don't want to be with you because you're not their type, you basically putting yourself out there and doing all that for nothing. Be sure that this is a person that you're going to build with on all levels before you start doing the things that you're doing now. This is why, in some instances, some of the ladies now, especially in this generation, believe that It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be that way if I put a ring on your finger and you bear my last name. Anything before that is up in the air. Hold on, a relationship should be a team partnership. You are both building together to have things together and share things together. Compromising with each other and working together, not against each other. Fact serious. Like prime example, some of you women are working against what you say you trying to get. You can't say that you want somebody to lead, you want somebody to be a provider and a protector and everything else. But you're going against the grain because you're busy pushing that out the way. If you want that person to do whatever, then let them do what they're supposed to do. Don't stand in the way of that. But the main thing too, some people are just not going to stay or they're not going to build with you if you're always going to be on go. You can't be combative all the time. Nobody wants to be arguing and fighting and going through all of that. We go through enough of that as it is in the world around us. Come on now. I ain't messing with you, James. I'm just peeping the chat, yo. I'm not messing with y'all. I'm not messing with y'all today. Most people don't want to get into a relationship with someone that is just trying to use them to take advantage of them. They want a partner that has their back the same way they have theirs. That's a fact. That's a whole fact. But see, the reason why I believe there are a lot of men out there, just like there's a lot of women out there who are not pursuing certain things, is because of the things they see around them. Now, prime example, there are some things we see here on social media that we know they're skits, you know, but in the same token, those are skits that actually hit close to home because there are scenarios out there that are happening like that. Prime example, I don't know if this was a skit that I seen earlier or if this was true. Explain to me how you want your boyfriend or you want your, I think that was her husband. How do you want your husband to lie to your father because you don't want father to know that you cheated on, cheated on, you cheated on your husband. You think this man, prime example, if I play golf or we doing something every weekend, you think the men are not talking about certain things? We are. And you want that man to lie to your father. What does that say about you? Come on now. Like I said, I don't know if that was a skill, if that was real. But for the fact that you would ask that man to lie to your father and not even bring up the situation, you was acting nonchalant. You cheated on that man. You think that man is supposed to stay quiet about that? No. Because at some point when people are asking, well, why y'all not here or why y'all not this or what's going on, at some point it's gonna come out. There's some of y'all prime example who claim y'all looking for a good man, but in the same token, you're not gonna do good by that good man. Because at some point you're gonna do something that either breaks code or that's just gonna shatter it. You can't say you want something great or something good, but you're willing to listen to your friends or you're willing to just do what you want to do. And again, you have to compromise. Oh, I already know, serious. It shouldn't be normalized because, in the same token, again, that's a form of wasting somebody's time. Because if that person is putting their all into you, and you ain't reciprocating, guess what? You're gonna end up losing that. Like I said, it's about compromise. But I'm gonna also say this for some of you fellas out there, and for some of you ladies that need to hear this. So again, if it don't apply, let it fly. if you claim that you want something great, you have to be able to fish that greatness out. So just know that you're going to come across different people, different personalities. And if somebody's personality is a direct match with yours, you better lock on and stay locked on. And again, that's on both ends, you know? Nah, it's a whole fact, James. And that's the thing. With that situation right there, like I said, it could have been a skit, but even if it was, sadly enough, these type of things are happening. We know that some of these videos or some of these clips we come across be skits, but then there's also given a sad reality. There's some of you claim you want a good man. There's some of you that claim you want a good woman. But then once you have that, you will go and do everything outside of. You will literally sit here and either cheat or you'll find ways to just fight each other, be combative. I thought the goal was to be with somebody and be happy, not be with somebody and be miserable. Then for some of y'all, if you already see the red flags and certain things, push away from it. Sometimes pushing away from those type of people can actually be beneficial for you. Like, see, this is what I'm saying. There are certain conversations we need to have. And it's not about shaming, it's not about judgment. It's just about giving the blueprint and showing the blueprint, especially again to the younger one. Do you really want some of these young ones to be a baby mama to multiple men? Do you want these young men to be a baby father to multiple women? Or do you want some form of complete balance when it comes down to a family structure? Again, you have to be safe in the decisions that you're making. And for some of y'all, you have poor decision making. Sorry to say. Because if any time you could think to cheat, mistreat, or dump to the side somebody who had your back the whole time, or somebody who really does love and care for you, you're not ready for that. You're not ready for the love that you say you look for. You're not ready to be settled down the way you think you should. And that's when you should have it in your heart to just say, well, you know what? I'm obviously not ready. Let me slow things down. Let me figure out what's important before I make these next steps. You can't say you want somebody good, but you're willing to treat the person that's doing you good bad. But like I said, I'm gonna definitely delve into this conversation deeper. And on that night, I had the link drop. I might possibly do something, if not tomorrow, possibly Sunday. But again, this is on both ends. When you see red flags, you got to step away from whatever. Like I said, sometimes stepping away is the safest way. Ladies, you don't want to be in a situation where there's abuse and don't want to end up being traumatized behind it. You got to remember, when there are red flags that are being clear as day to your face, don't end up making that decision and then put yourself in that same consequence. If you know somebody has a history of being abusive or has been in jail for that type of abuse, I don't think that's a person you should want to put yourself around, because there's a possibility that if that person didn't rehabilitate, they can end up doing the same thing. The thing is breaking the cycle. The best way to break a cycle is to show the blueprint on how. Your goal is to find somebody that brings you peace, brings you balance, also brings you love and honor. And the trust has to be there. If there's no trust, there's nothing. These modern day people hasn't grasped the fact that you are not going to find that ideal person. Step back and evaluate the person's mental health, personality traits, family values, and spirituality. Facts. These things are important, serious. And those things will always be important. That's what I'm saying. I've always been an advocate for that. Make sure that the person you are vetting out has the mental capacity to understand everything, but also make sure they're not on the loopy side. If you see that they are over possessive and over aggressive, that's something that you should walk away from, because at some point it can turn real dangerous or worse. You know, see, these type of talks are necessary because again, it's about bringing a blueprint, and it's also about showing something outside of. In this current dating world, it's all about money and a come up. Some of y'all say y'all want a partner, but you're not willing to do what's necessary to gain that partner or even keep them. Again, it's about compromise. If you're not willing to compromise anything, the last thing you should be worried about is a relationship. And I'm going to say this from experience. And I know I'm not ready for nothing. I don't put myself in nothing. That's something that I've been doing since I was young. I'm not prepared for it. I don't put myself in that situation because I don't want to end up hurting the person either, or I don't want to end up being hurt. So that's the mindset in some cases that it should be. If you're not prepared for certain things, don't rush yourself into it. It said, don't, hold on a second. That's the truth, though. Once you see the red flags, you gotta run for dear life. It might sound funny, but it is truthful because in some cases, some people didn't take the warnings. Even when the people around you was giving you warnings, they didn't take the warnings. And some of those people ended up losing their lives, or they ended up being some form of mentally and physically scarred for life. Don't nobody want that. Don't nobody want to be with somebody who's jealous and possessive, and definitely violent. Those are the three key elements that staying away from both ends. No, there are men who are being abused as well too, or have been through some form of abuse. We just don't speak about it. So again, your goal is to find somebody that's going to bring you peace. So and find somebody that again just best suits you. And for some of y'all, you actually do be having the right people around. But again, you'll allow the outside interference to be that part of the decision you make. Prime example, if you go and listen to your friends and they tell you, oh, you could do better, you should leave them, and that person hasn't done nothing but just be good to you, you're saying yourself a failure. You can't blame nobody but yourself. You can get mad, but you have to take accountability for yourself. Because again, nobody forced you to do anything. You decided to do just because you want to do. If your friends are really, they're going to encourage you to do the best. They're going to encourage you to work things out. There is a situation between you and I already hear in the background. No, again, I'm gonna definitely delve on this topic deeper, and I'll drop the link when I do. Y'all already know y'all more than welcome. But again, if you're gonna listen to your, that's also the men too. Some of y'all be listening to other dudes and you listening to nonsense. Single people try to keep people single. And that is true. Because if you have something and your friends don't, some of you have that mindset to think, well, this person is taking off from me. This person ain't, oh, this person is messing up my friend's fun and yada, yada, yada. No. Your goal is to find somebody to build with. Be happy with. And if somebody in your group does find something, then you should be happy. Appreciate you, serious baby. Say, but you already know. End this in a minute. Anyway, like I said, I'm gonna delve into this conversation deeper. But again, gotta remember, if your friends truly support you and they got your best interest, they're not gonna force you to make a decision that could possibly basically hurting you. If they see that you are actually happy with the person that you're building with, they're going to encourage you. And that's the most important thing. You know? So, again, fellas and ladies, it's time for y'all to start using your brain. Critically thinking is more important now than ever. And again, thinking for yourself, not having everybody think for you. But yeah, I appreciate everybody that tuned in and rocked out with the conversation. I'll definitely be back sometime this week. And if not, we be back at it fresh Monday. Those celebrating birthdays this weekend. Hopefully, y'all enjoy your birthday weekends. Another blessing around the sun. Many more blessings. Make sure y'all enjoy yourselves. Live and love and laugh every moment of life. And hold on, I can't let y'all go out like that. Can't let y'all go out like that. See y'all in here getting it. But yeah, appreciate everybody that rocked out. Hopefully everybody enjoys the rest of the evening to the weekend. I try to stay safe as possible, like I said. Stay warm. I'll definitely see y'all. Let me get my ass up off this phone. It's messing me up now, yo. I see some of y'all walking around these streets. I'll definitely see y'all this weekend. Appreciate everybody that's been part of the build, still becoming a part of the build. And yeah, we still gonna have these great convos and discussions. And you know we're gonna have our little bit of fun as well. For those that might be tuning in late, you already know that. That's the replay. Let me get my ass up out of here. If y'all was new to the channel, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the replay gang. Shout out to the Shadow Mafia and the Shadow Babies. Y'all know what it is, baby. Everybody that was in attendance tonight, y'all already know that love is love and they'll be reciprocated as such. I don't know how to be fake. All I do is give you real. That's all I'm gonna do is give you real topics. Geraldine, baby. You're gonna have to definitely catch this replay, baby. But yeah, hopefully somebody got something out of both of these conversations. Like I said, I'll probably reiterate it this weekend here. But again, for those who need to hear it, again, follow your gut instinct. When you spot red flags that you know could be dangerous or far worse, move away from them as far as possible. You know, the goal is to find peace, find happiness, not to find misery and possibly unalive. Y'all stay safe. Keep that third eye open. Until the next live, we out of here. Peace and blessings.